I am breaking all the rules today. So I am someone who's always like, when you put out content, right, for the most part, have it tie back to, where you want your clients to be and what you want them to absorb and listen to. And if I'm being real honest with you, I do not feel like talking about business today. I really don't. Um, if you haven't heard, my best friend passed away. And I have been really going through it. Everything that I once really felt was significant and important feels irrelevant. Is that the right word? I'm trying to think if that's really it. It just feels non-urgent. Everything had such an urgency before. And I don't know. It's really weird when someone you really care about passes away because especially where I am, right? Like a lot of my family and roots are in Texas, and that's where this friend lived. And I'm out here in Los Angeles. And it feels like the whole world is just going on, and I am stuck watching it. And, I feel really blessed and happy that number one, I own my own business because I've had a lot of grace and flexibility with being able to manage my own schedule, be able to get down there and spend time with family and friends, and be able to grieve. It's also something I can really truly do from, the deepest part of my soul with my eyes closed. And I love doing it so much. It brings me joy. And for a moment, it can bring me out of grief. So I'm feeling so much gratitude for that. But really, it's just, I don't know. There's a lot that's coming up for me. And I think I wanted to use today's episode to just sort of like voice it out. And I used to do a lot more motivation on this podcast. Used to do a lot more talking and just kind of connecting. And I feel like it's been a long time since there's been one of these episodes. And if I'm being 100% honest, I have no agenda. I have no idea what the fuck is going to come out of my mouth, but I really wanted to verbally process. And so I do that really well when I get to chat it out. And imagine I'm having coffee with you because I am not a like big, put pen to paper, write it out. I do like journaling every once in a while, but it is not my favorite modality. And, meditation and breath work, also great, but not my chosen modality. So it's no surprise that I'm a podcaster because I am definitely a verbal processor. Like, just let me talk it the fuck out. And so, again, we're going to go on a journey. If you're going to stick it through, I'll be curious what your thoughts are, what comes up for you, and what your takeaway was, if anything. And if anything, you just listen. Thank you for being a container for me. I don't usually ask for a lot of space. I'm usually the one that holds the space. And so today I decided I'm going to make space for me. So maybe this won't be a highly listened to episode, and I'll be okay with that because I really needed to get some of these things just out in the open. I've been having a lot of conversations with my partner because something else that's come up with this loss and this death is it's having me think a lot about my 40th birthday. So I turned 40 on 11/11. My best friend, she would have been 40 on 12/12. We've known each other since before we were born, and we are a month and a day apart. I literally just said I'd known each other before we were born. We probably have. Our souls probably knew each other then. I meant to say we've known each other since we were born, and we're a month and a day apart. And we had a lot of talks about what 40 was going to look like. I have been thinking about 40, I think, since I turned 30. I don't know. Every day that gets closer to 40, I feel more excited about it, but I do have some thoughts coming up. Like, I genuinely thought I would be further along than I am. And again, it's not that I'm not proud of where I am, but I thought I would be further along. I thought I would have more money in savings. I thought I would be living in a bigger house. I thought that, I would have been able to have a bigger team and be more remote from my business. There was all these other goals I had. I really kind of had this different vision 10, 7, 5 years ago. And as we get closer to 40, the things that are sounding good sound like learning how to get into my body. Something I've really realized a lot lately because I've been crying so much is feeling and being vulnerable and allowing myself to really feel deeply is not my favorite thing in the world. Surprise, surprise. I'm an Enneagram 8. Scorpio, Leo, Aries are my top 3, like not big feelers, right? We're more like get shit doners and just, we're the person you call if you want to like bury the body and we don't want to say anything about it, right? You want to keep it a secret. We're those folks. And so it feels like what I'm realizing is maybe for the last even couple of years, I've been operating on this disconnected front, like really operating from my head space and not my body space. And y'all hear me say it all the time. How we do anything is how we do everything. And so I feel like one of the things that I want to do in this next decade and starting now is a lot more body work. I want to get into my body. I don't think it's a surprise that I've started recording these podcasts sitting on the floor. It's making me feel a lot more grounded and I'm recording at home. So one of the other big changes in my life recently was that we closed the studio. And that was a really interesting experience. I guess it's been a lot of grief. Actually, again, thanks for letting me verbally process all of this. It's been a lot of grief, grief of identities, literal grief of losing people, grief of what I thought the future was going to be. There's just a lot of grief. And so going back to the studio, that was something that I was having a lot, especially like my ego was having a hard time with it. I was like, what does this mean about me if I'm closing my studio? Like I help women make money. I talk about doing big things. Like what are people going to think if I close the studio? And it was actually my friend Mallory who passed that I called because she not only was a beautiful human, but she had a really good business brain. And I called her and I told her everything I was feeling and that I felt like a failure, but it just didn't make any sense anymore to carry the studio. Like it was just an expense that didn't need to happen, but we had put all this money into it and time. And we had all these dreams of Dee having like this podcast studio. And, we really were just like, what do we do? What do we do? And she said this thing to me that was like, it's just a business decision. This isn't a personal thing. Like, this is purely a business decision. And at first I thought she was saying that just to like make me feel better. But ultimately, when I kind of thought it out, I was like, damn, she's right. She's right. This doesn't have to mean something about who I am. So anyway, going back to feeling grounded, being in my body, I'm now doing the podcasts at home. I'm now doing them for the most part sitting on the floor. I'm trying different things, see what feels good. But I'm desiring some more spirituality in my life. I feel like that's been something I've really been missing. I frequently talk to my angels and my spirit guides, but I want to learn how to ask for more help. I want to learn how to be a bit more intuitive. And that means listening, and also not forcing. I think forcing is normal operating system for me, right? Like my whole life, I have just been like, well, listen, if it's not going to work, I'm going to figure out how to fucking get it done. That is just my MO. And I don't know. I kind of want to listen. Like if it doesn't work, maybe that's because it's not supposed to go that way. We don't need to force it anymore. And so I don't know. Again, I said I didn't know where this episode was going. I said I was just really going to talk it out because I've been having a lot of big feelings, a lot of revelations. I'm also like really excited about where the Beam Life is going. It was revealed to me when Embodied Earner really took off earlier this year that I'm truly built for coaching these new and emerging entrepreneurs. I think they're often a forgotten group. I think the things that exist for them are like $97 courses, or they're forced into these bigger masterminds paying these really expensive prices for support. They're not quite ready yet because the foundations haven't been built properly. And so they're learning things that don't make sense for where they're at in business right now. And it's like they're skipping too many steps, but no one wants to slow down enough to to work with them. And I'm feeling like that is where I want to focus my attention. And that has been something that's been really exciting to do. I'm also looking forward to maybe bringing in some more physical challenges. For a long time, I did a lot of ultra running, triathlons, pushed my body to the limits. And I think a lot of it was to like prove something to myself. This might come as a surprise. I've really struggled with self-worth over the last, I don't know, 39 and a half years of my fucking life. I told you I was just really going to talk it out and get vulnerable. Who knows? Might delete later. Just kidding. No, I won't. But yeah, I think self-worth is, challenging for me because I've had to find it in really interesting places in my life, places I'm not necessarily always proud of. Growing up, I really struggled with my weight, my body image. God, I look back now and I'm like, girl, you were fly. You were so perfect. I wish I had felt the way felt about myself, the way I feel about like when I look at my daughter, because I think my daughter is the most perfect, amazing, fabulous human in the whole world. And, I think it was around her age, like that 9 or 10, I started having like feelings about the way my body looked and the way that I compared myself to other people. And so that really did a number on my self-worth. And I feel like I had to make up for it in other ways, whether that was through being funny or promiscuous or risky or whatever it was, right? Like there were things that we do for the validation of others, and I'm unlearning some of those behaviors as an adult. And a really good friend of mine said to me the other day, she said, I really love how you are learning to love the little version of you by loving your daughter. And that really meant a lot to me. That really stuck with me because I said, yeah, you're actually right. I am learning a lot about myself and my worth. And I don't know, the things that I really find that are important to me through being a mother. And that's the other thing that's so interesting is that being a mother was never something I grew up playing with dolls. I never was like, I want to get married and have babies. I actually wanted to run an empire from a very young age. In any game we played, I was the boss. I was the owner. I had all the employees. Like that tracks. That feels very on par. The thing that I didn't grow up saying was like, I want a family and kids and all of these things. Like that was just, yeah, that was not on the vision board. And so having my daughter has allowed me to be completely, I think, reoriented to the word nurturing, reparenting myself, giving myself the things that I needed then and realizing it's not too late and that there's part of me that still needs those things and not feeling embarrassed about that. So yeah. While I've been around for almost 40 years, I still feel like the best is yet to come and I have a lot more to learn. The 30s have been very intense, very intense. A lot has gone on in the 30s. And I'm really looking forward to why all of those things happened and how going through that hardship, because that's really that's our growth edge. I think that when people say like, I haven't really been through much, there hasn't been that much struggle. I can understand why that same person might not also have massive quantum leaps or explosive growth moments, because oftentimes when the rubber meets the road, we either let it flatten us out like a pancake or we decide, hey, like this grittiness, this challenge, this is what's going to make us. And the 30s have really shaped me. Whew, they have shaped me. And I think that it's going to be a really good decade, a really, really good decade. I still have 2.5 more months till that 40th birthday. So I'm going to live out my 30s all the way through. But I am going to be doing a lot of preparation for this initiation of the next decade because I want to leave some things behind. I want to bring some things with me. I want to forgive myself for some things. I want to find forgiveness with others. I want to learn again how to get into my body. Yeah, all the things. But grief is weird. Grief is so weird. And so yeah, while I had this episode planned about, what happens when our life gets derailed, when we have a bad week or a slow week and we let it mean something more than we need it to be, I didn't really want to talk about that. So again, this is like permission to sort of show up sometimes without needing to be like this buttoned up, say the perfect thing, do the perfect thing kind of person, and actually more just speak from your heart. So I know this will land with someone. I know it will, but it won't be for everyone, and that's okay too. I'm learning all the things that it's okay to be misunderstood. As much as I think people think I'm okay with people not liking me, it really is something I still struggle with because it's that inner people pleaser, right? We really want people to accept us and love us. And I think that's the human condition. We want that deep sense of belonging. But I now want to belong to myself in this decade. I want to belong to the people who are on the same frequency as me. I want to belong to the dreams and goals that I have and the ambitions that I have set. So cheers to belonging. Let whatever's in front of you feel like you also are chosen and belong to it too. Thank you for being a container for me today. Thank you for letting me just chat out whatever I was thinking and saying. I'll have to go back and listen to this because I have no idea what I said. But I think that it's important we share ourselves when we can, because oftentimes Instagram makes things look real pretty, real perfect, real all figured out. And oftentimes they're just not. And then it feels deceitful because someone else like, well, gosh, they make that look really easy. And you're not alone. Just know that if you are on this journey and it's feeling hella hard, I see you, boo. I see you. And that's what this community is really built on, is a lot of us doing it through the hella hard. So I love you. I believe in you. The world needs to hear your words and your magic. They also need your medicine and your business. And we're here every Wednesday. So hopefully this episode didn't scare you off. And I will see you back here next week. Please share with a business bestie if you found this helpful. Share on your socials by tagging me at The Beam Life. It helps a show like this grow. And then check out any fun things that I have shared for you in the show notes. We'll be back here next week.